These men were largely held outdoors with limited shelter and food, so they are just outside. Just outside.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of As the Skeleton Key Turns. I, of course, am your. Today is a long day, everyone. I, of course, am your host, Gray, always joined by the lovely Christina.
Hello.
And we want to say, first and foremost, before everything, thank you, every single one of you who have shared, liked, interacted with us on TikTok. We have hit over 1,000 followers. So that means, that means now at some point in time, whenever we are able to get together, you will see us live. You might not see our faces, but you'll still hear our voices. We're going to be doing haunted videos coming up soon, with the travel and all that. We are planning stuff in the works. But also, we have a 3-part series this time. So Edinburgh is probably one of the most haunted places in the world. Not only does it have everything from body snatching to murders, to haunted castles, to haunted streets, to haunted inns, to a haunted town in itself, outside of the buildings. So buckle up, get ready, because Edinburgh is probably going to want to be the most deep dived series that we do. If for any reason you have anything about it that you want to add, please message us on Facebook or email and let us tell it, because we want to hear from you all, the listeners. So hopefully this one will reach over the pond. This will be our second time over the pond, or across the pond, as I like to say, because Hellfire Club was across the pond, but this one is going to strictly focus, not even going to touch America. So this is our thank you podcast episodes for 1,000 followers as well. And of course, yet again, like I said, just thank you so much. We honestly, it's crazy that 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we started this.
No, it's been 6 months.
Wow, that long. So we started this all this time, and now here we are, still recording, still working hard at it, and we can't thank you all enough. We enjoy what we do. It helps keep us busy and entertained, and it entertains you all. So why not blab ourselves off to the listener and actually, get something out of it? Cool podcast.
Heck yeah.
All right. Of course, I'm going to kind of lean way to Christina. With that being said, let's take it away. Remember, we are in Edinburgh, people. Beautiful, beautiful Edinburgh. Close your eyes and imagine and smell the town and the city.
It's on the list. Yes.
Listen, if we ever get the chance to actually fly to Edinburgh, I can 100% guarantee you I'm going to jizz in my pants. I'm just saying it right now.
We would need like 2 weeks, though. Seriously.
Oh, I don't care. No, not even 2 weeks. No, girl, we're fucking gone. We're not even. No, it is 6 weeks in Edinburgh. We're gone. We're not coming back to the States for like 6 weeks. We will record the podcast over there.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, I would love that. I would adore that on so many levels.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I have that much PTO, but yeah.
Oh, no, not even worry about the PTO. No, PTO is just a figment of your imagination, and you take a leave of absence because a family member in Edinburgh got snatched by a body snatcher, and you have to help go solve a crime. Yes. That's what it is. It's a crime.
Yes. Some Murder, She Wrote, Jessica Fletcher stuff.
God, oh, now I want to watch that. Jesus. All right. Well, everyone, like I said, buckle in. Let's get this party started. Christina, take it away with the intro to Edinburgh.
So Edinburgh is actually in Scotland, for those of you that might be listening that don't know that. It is one of the oldest and most historically significant cities in Scotland. So the city grew up around a dramatic ridge of volcanic rock. So if you remember I don't know, several episodes ago where we talked about the Japanese forest, similar makeup like volcanic rock. So Edinburgh Castle stands high above the surrounding landscape on what they call Castle Rock. And that position made the area naturally defensive, and people occupied that site long before a modern city existed. So, I mean, way back, they've been on this rock living or on the hill there. So over time, the settlement developed along the ridge running east from the castle toward Holyrood. I think that's how they say it. This route became the Royal Mile. And for centuries, the Royal Mile formed the heart of Edinburgh's Old Town. And the city grew upward and inward rather than simply spreading out. So most of our cities that we know of, they go out, right? This one did not do that. It went upward and inward. So think about that as we get into the history later on. So tall tenement buildings line the streets, and narrow passages called closes and wynds ran between them. So like alleys. And some buildings rose several stories high, which was unusual for that time period. And they became densely populated. And with that density came some serious problems. The sanitation was poor because of all the people.
Mm-hmm.
Waste was often thrown into the streets, which is just nasty. Their clean water was very limited, and disease spread very, very easily with all those people packed in. Now, we talked about this in some of the mental institutions. Not good. Not good.
Right.
So crowded living conditions affect everyone, but the poorest residents often lived in the worst areas of the city. And Edinburgh was also a place of enormous political and military importance. So Scotland and England spent centuries in conflict. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the William Wallace A Braveheart, um, Edinburgh repeatedly found itself caught in warfare. And Edinburgh Castle was attacked and besieged many, many times. And the castle changed hands during conflicts between the Scots and the English and back and forth. And controlling it meant controlling one of the most important defensive positions in Scotland, that Castle Rock. So in 1314, Scottish forces led by Thomas Randolph recaptured Edinburgh Castle from the English after climbing Castle Rock at night and surprising the defenders. So good thing they got it back, but that played a major role in Scotland's royal history. So Mary, Queen of Scots, lived in Edinburgh during parts of her reign, and in 1566, she gave birth to her son, James, inside Edinburgh Castle. He later became James VI of Scotland. Then, after the death of Elizabeth I, he also became James I of England. So that event united the crowns of Scotland and England under one ruler, and Edinburgh remained the capital of Scotland, but his political role began to change. In 1603, James moved his royal court south to London. Then in 1707, the Acts of Union united the parliaments of Scotland and England into the Parliament of Great Britain. And Scotland retained its own legal system, church, educational institutions, but political power increasingly centered in London. Edinburgh, however, continued to grow in importance as a center of law, education, medicine, and culture. So, what do you think happened next? There's a major thing that happened. Nope. The plague came.
The bubonic plague. One of the most infamous plagues in all of history, folks. And just with that being said, I may or may not have a dark fantasy thought of the plague doctor, because why
I
not?
love the plague doctor.
I know he's
I
my
love
favorite.
him. And her, whomever.
Yes, actually, that's right. Because plague doctors, a fun side fact for those, now that we're talking about the intro of the plague in Edinburgh itself, plague doctors were male and female, as their full masks disguised their entire face, and those long beaks that they had at the end of their masks that mimicked a raven's beak would actually hold herbs and spices and different types of natural healing medicines. They would also put some plague doctors actually believed, and this is from just kind of reading in general, they would believe that blessing themselves in holy water or moon water would help protect themselves from the disease itself. Of course, it didn't always end up that way. A lot of plague doctors actually, unfortunately, ended up sick, just like the rest of their citizens, because herbs and other natural ointments can only go so far. It can protect you from the smell, but it cannot protect you from the disease itself.
That shit stinks. The
Yes,
plague stunk. So bad. Oh my God.
Stinky City. Anyways, go on. Sorry.
So, of course, this is one of the darkest chapters in the history. So the disease was so severe. The most severe occurred in 1645 or around then. Because remember, we said that the city didn't go outward, it went upward and inward. The conditions of Old Town made outbreaks especially dangerous. I mean, this stuff was so contagious. And they lived close together, and they were still putting their poop in the street, and it just spread like wildfire. So areas like Mary King's Close were home to families, merchants, workers, and the poor. And Mary King herself was a real 17th century woman who became a successful merchant and gave her name to the close. Remember, we said the alleys were closes.
Yes.
So a famous legend later claimed that plague victims were sealed into Mary King's Close and left to die. But there is no solid historical evidence that that actually happened. But the close did become partially buried later when redevelopment began above the area, which enclosed portions of the old street beneath to create the underground, or the old city underneath. So they literally built on top of it.
Oh, wow.
And there are parts of the neighborhood that are still beneath the Royal Mile. Like, it's still there. You can go tour it. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
So, we're back in time, and there's religious conflicts. So in the 1600s, if you know anything about the history of the church and the Catholic Church and the Protestants and all that stuff and all that, there was a lot of conflict. So there was intense religious conflict in Scotland at that time too, and many Scottish Presbyterians opposed attempts by the monarchy to control their church. So at that time, the king controlled the church, and they didn't like it. So they became known as the Covenanters. So this conflict became political and eventually very violent. And in 1679, Covenanter forces were defeated by government troops at the Battle of Bothwell Brig. Around 1,200 prisoners were taken to Edinburgh, and many were confined in an enclosed area beside Greyfriars Kirkyard. And this area became known as the Covenanters' Prison. I can't talk tonight. These men were largely held outdoors with limited shelter and food. So they are just outside. Just outside.
Chilling.
Just outside. Like,
just chilling.
Scotland's not hot. Okay? They just had a heat wave over there, and no one has air conditioning. Not that they would have had it back then, but it's not hot. So they were held outside with no shelter, very limited food. Of course, they became sick, and of course, they died. Some were executed. Others escaped, and very few were released. Eventually, some were released. but 250 prisoners were sentenced to transportation overseas. So I know you said it's not going to touch America, and they actually didn't, but they were placed aboard the ship called the Crown of London. And in December of 1679, the ship wrecked near Orkney. They were on the way over this way.
Right.
Most of the prisoners died aboard the ship. So,
yeah.
Sir George Mackenzie. Go ahead.
I think that ship was actually cursed.
Well, Sir George Mackenzie, Scotland's Lord Advocate, became strongly associated with the government's prosecution of the Covenanters, and later generations would give him the name Bloody Mackenzie.
Ooh.
After he died, he was buried at Greyfriars Kirkyard. So, yeah. He wasn't the nicest guy. So in the 1700s, the town had become increasingly overcrowded. They've already been through the plague and all the things. And the city began expanding beyond its medieval core. So the new development was called Newtown. And Newtown was designed in the 18th century with wider streets, planned squares, and more spacious housing. And very, very different to the way Old Town was. So the wealthy moved to Newtown and they left all the poor people, because of course they couldn't afford to move, in Old Town. And yeah, so Edinburgh is known for that dramatic contrast between Newtown and Old Town. And the elegant Georgian streets exist only a short distance from the crowded closes and poor neighborhoods to this day. So I did mention that Scotland became known for its medicine and learning and all that stuff. And in the 1700s, they became one of the intellectual centers of Europe. So thinkers, scientists, philosophers, physicians, remember that, physicians and writers gathered in the city. People such as David Hume and Adam Smith became associated with Edinburgh's intellectual culture. And medicine became very prominent there. Law, education, universities, medical schools, lots of international respect in Edinburgh at that time. But that also created another problem. So medical students need human bodies to study anatomy, right? Like you have to practice on bodies.
Oh, yeah.
And there just weren't enough legally available cadavers. So what do you think happened?
Murder! And not just murder, right? So let's look at it this way. So I would say, just throwing this out there, body snatching. Think of what's that one play with Mrs. Lovett and what's his name? Fucking, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's
Demon Barber Fleet Street. That's
Sweeney
it. Sweeney
Todd.
Sweeney Todd. So think of that, right? That is loosely based on some of the facts of Edinburgh, because that is actually how, fun fact, that is how some of the body snatching actually happened in barbershops, doctors' offices, friends' places. They would be sitting down and getting a haircut or having a lovely cup of tea. And then all of a sudden, down the chute they go and off to research they went.
Yes. The body snatching, grave robbing, all of it became such a huge problem because resurrection men, as they were called, were digging up recently buried corpses and selling them to schools and doctors. And the families became so terrified that their loved ones would be stolen after they died that they started guarding the graves. Heavy iron structures called mort safes, I love that, mort safes, were placed over graves to prevent body snatchers from reaching the coffin. And Greyfriars Kirkyard, which I posted a couple weeks ago in a short, still has surviving examples of all of that. So Burke and Hare, William Burke and William Hare, realized they didn't have to dig up bodies. They could just murk people and provide
Yep.
fresh corpses.
Ta-da!
1828, multiple victims were killed in Edinburgh, and they were sold to the anatomist, Dr. Robert Knox. Like, that's crazy. You can't just go killing people.
Well, back then in Edinburgh, you could because they did, and it's not legal. By the way, murder is not legal even to this
No.
day. So if any of you get any idea about doing any kind of body snatching, I can promise you, I will be a demon. I will hunt you down. Anyway,
Burke was executed for his crimes only
as he
because
should
his
be.
homie Hare testified against him.
He's like, I'm not going down. Fuck that.
It's all you, buddy. Oh man, it's crazy. So, Edinburgh's expansion created another unusual part of the city called Southbridge. That was built in the late 1700s, and inside and beneath the bridge's arches were enclosed chambers that became known as the South Bridge Vaults. So they would put stuff there. Tradespeople would use for storage. Taverns were there. Businesses were all there, but they were very damp. I mean, it's a bridge, right? Like, it's damp. Water would seep through the stone, and the businesses were like, we can't use this anymore. Our stuff's getting ruined. So as poverty increased, the people were using the vaults for their shelters. So they
Oof.
lived in dark, cramped underground rooms with no ventilation or sanitation because, yep. And of course, illegal activity then bloomed. There was an illegal whiskey distillery that was discovered in the early 1800s in there. But they were largely forgotten before being rediscovered. And you can actually visit the vaults today.
Hmm.
So let's see. The castle.
Oh, Edinburgh Castle itself, or
Yes, the castle itself.
yes, yes.
So we already talked about how it was taken back and all that stuff. So there was all kinds of prisoners that were held there, including French and American prisoners, actually. They carved stuff in the prison areas, and the crown jewels were held there for many years, called the Stone of Destiny, which sounds pretty cool. That was actually used before being taken to England by Edward I.
Okay.
So Scottish students stole the Stone of Destiny in 1950 or so and returned it back to Scotland. And it was officially returned back in 1996. So that's pretty recent when we're talking about something so old as Edinburgh. But
Yes.
yeah. So let's see.
So since we're in Edinburgh Castle,
Yes.
wait a minute. Since we're in Edinburgh Castle, for those of you out there, there's a phantom there, and I want to touch on just a little bit, just a little bit, because this has me excited. The headless drummer. Now, not nearly headless Nick like in Harry Potter, and not like a nearly headless ghost, or what is it? The
The
headless
Headless
ghost rider of
Horseman.
yeah, the headless horseman. Everyone knows me. No, this is. So I'm sorry. The headless horseman, one of the castle's oldest phantoms, by the way, is a drummer boy. Now, when we think drummer boy, we think child, right? No, he was known as a drummer boy in Edinburgh Castle. And basically, according to tradition, he only appears at times of great danger to Scotland itself. Not like as a personal thing, but if World War III should break out and Scotland comes under attack, especially Edinburgh itself or the castle itself, he will appear. Witnesses have claimed to hear the sound of faint drummings echoing through the hall in the castle at night when there are no musicians or instruments present at all. No one knows who the boy was or how he died. Yet again, not an actual boy. He was an adult. He was just had the title of drummer boy because he was part of the king's court. That is one thing you have to remember with Edinburgh is it is the king's court. So inside the court, you have, drummers and jesters and scribes and all of that. So
Right.
the king, probably being jovial in his craziness, jovial, however you say it, was probably like, oh, I like this man. You're a drummer boy, Timmy Tom Two Tips. I don't freaking know. But like that's kind of where some of these titles will come from. So if you ever do get confused, just remember it was a King's Court thing. And but that is one of the oldest phantoms. And I'm assuming probably during the first attack of Edinburgh of the castle of Edinburgh, is probably when he died. Whatever, got murdered, or maybe he might have been part of the body snatching, and his spirits is still there because like it was a gruesome death, right? His energy still exists because he's like, I didn't fucking finish what I need to start. The king didn't release me. So he's like, his energy is tied to the castle. Sorry, that's a random five. Oh my
Random
God.
thought.
Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ on a pogo stick. Go on.
I want to dive deeper into that whole thing too. Like, when did it start? So we'll get there. We'll get there, just not today.
No.
The Phantom Piper.
Mm-hmm.
That's another cool thing I want to learn about. Mr. Boots.
Oh, yes.
And then don't forget Bloody Mackenzie.
Oh, God. How can you? All amazing ghost stories. Absolutely amazing.
I mean,
so yeah.
Realistically though, like the place is spooky enough without ghosts, right? All the history, all the stuff. Like you don't even need the ghosts to have it be a fascinating place, right? A gorgeous, fascinating place. But now you add the ghosts in there and I'm done. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh. So sorry, folks. So with that being said, right? So now that we're in Edinburgh Castle itself, this is where we really get like you all have heard about the body snatchers and the kings getting executed, or not executed, but not the kings, but the doctors getting executed and everything like that. It is now we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of I hate to say that. Wow, that is the most white person old people thing I've ever said.
That's all
I
right.
am 37 years old. That is not what we need to say. We're getting into the juicy bits of Edinburgh. As you kids say these days. I actually don't know
What
what
is
you
that
say.
commercial? Isn't like Geico or something where they
It's progressive. We prevent you. We help you
from
from
being like
becoming
your parents?
parents. Have an impacted tooth.
Meat and
Stop.
potatoes.
Goodness, gosh. Yes. So yeah, no. So Edinburgh itself is going to become super, super cool. We're still touching on points of it, but the one thing I want to add about Edinburgh Castle is if you look at it, and this is a theory, right? This is a I wouldn't say a conspiracy theory, but I'm definitely putting my tinfoil hat on this one. So the way Edinburgh Castle was constructed, set up, and laid out, some believe that it is actually laid out to be the portal, not to hell as we know it, right? But a portal to break the veil between this world and the next. There is some theories out there that the main room where the king and queen would sit during parties and stuff like that, and you know, court trials and all that, that room is said to actually be the epicenter of possession and demonic entities that are actually meant to harm, because when the castle was originally built, there were some supposed witches that helped build it, and they cursed that castle itself because of the unfair treatment they received while building said castle. So that's just a slight theory. It's out there. It's not talked about a lot, and it's kind of hard to find, but it is something to be thought about.
Ley lines
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Gosh, ley lines. Gosh, yeah, no, but Edinburgh Castle is so beautiful. My
They
God, it is so
call the place underneath it the Void.
Oh,
The Void. I love it. I can't wait to look into that.
I know. Gosh, we have so much more to cover, but this is a 3-part series, so I'm gonna say, I know this is not normally the length of our episodes, and I understand, but we have so much to cover, and this is just a dip in the water of what Edinburgh is. I mean, probably 3 parts. I mean, honestly, because we still have the Kirkyard to talk about. We still have, the main hauntings of the castle to talk about. We still have the main hauntings of the city to talk about. There are countless reports still to this day of people in Edinburgh who are still feeling the effects of what it was thousands of years ago. And
Don't forget the witch trials.
And yes, the witch trials. Oh, you guys are in for a treat.
It's just so much, and I think that because we're where we are right now and we're still building, I think that this is perfect time to do like a special series.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, with that being said, we are going to cut a little bit smaller today. We're giving you a slash of the pie. We got so much more to talk about, so much more to discover. But anyone out there who has information on Edinburgh that we don't find, online or through our research or through libraries, through newspapers, I would love for you all to send information our way. Like, we want to know more and as much as we can about this beautiful haunted place. And it's not the castle, right? It's all the town. I mean,
the architecture alone is haunting.
Oh my gosh, it's like a Gothic era.
Yes.
Dark.
It fits just me like so well.
You could tell the architects during the time period building of Edinburgh were just like, they were in their Gothic phase. It's not a phase, Mom. This is different. It lasted centuries and still has lasted to this day. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and let you all go for the day, for the night, for the morning, for the afternoon, whenever you're listening. But we want to let you know we will be back with a part 2. Part 2 is going to be a whole lot juicier. It's going to be a little bit longer, actually probably longer, definitely, because Christina and I have so much to talk about on Edinburgh. We got so much research that we've done and collected, and blah. Yeah, I can't get it out in one episode because it would be almost a 4-hour long episode.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna say, I don't think you all want to listen to us blab for 4 hours. Well, you might, but I gotta eat.
Smaller bits. Smaller
bits. But yeah, so thank you again for choosing and listening to us, the Skeleton Key Turns, on your podcast listening platform. We hope that you all have enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, YouTube, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever You know,
There's more. I
TikTok.
just don't know all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much more. And of course, if you are, this episode is partnered with and will be continued to be partnered with Christina's lovely business. So if you are in the mood and need of candles or anything witchy related, please check out her. We will have the links to the website on our Facebook, and of course, she has her own Instagram page. So make sure you all check her website out for anything you might need for your witchy needs. She has it.
Yes.
I'm 99% sure.
www.mysticalmoonlitpaths.com.
You heard it here, folks. Moonlit Paths. Even if you're not walking on a moonlit path, you can. Don't worry, it's not too late. Of course, I always am Gray, joined by the lovely Christina. And with that being said, we bid you all adieu. And remember, whatever lies behind the door, it's always going to be something new to discover. And even if it's not, you're going to learn something. I mean, we're not historians, but I mean, we might as well be. We're pretty cool as fuck. I'm just saying.
Pretty cool.
Of course, thank you again for listening. We hope that you all have had a wonderful time. Please don't forget to reach out to us via our socials if you have any stories or anything you'd like to share. And thank you again for listening to As the Skeleton Key Turns. Bye.
Good night.